Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, taking a look at race number 8 at Saratoga on Jockey Club Gold Cup Saturday. It's the $150,000 Harvey Pack Stakes, 5.5 furlongs, 4-year-olds and up on the turf. Before we take a look at the field, remember that DRF's Labor Day sale is ongoing. Get up to 50% off PPs, picks, clock reports, the digital paper, and more. Learn more at shop.drf.com. Here's the field for the Harvey Pack. It warms our hearts, Mike, to have Harvey be recognized with a stakes race, the late, great racing ambassador in New York for all those many years. We grew up watching him.
Yeah, Harvey was the best. Yeah, he was part of our childhood for sure growing up. I actually feel bad for the new people coming into this game now, Dan, who never got to see him.
The good news is you can actually check out some clips of Harvey when we worked with him on our Daily Racing Form YouTube channel. Just go through the archives. You could also argue that if it wasn't for Harvey, we wouldn't be doing this right now. He invented pre-race prattle with his Paddock Club.
Yeah, he certainly did. You're right about that. It was obviously relatively new back then, but he definitely created jobs for a lot of different people. And you know what? Time's going to go on and more people will get involved in doing what we do, Dan. Nobody will ever do it as well as Harvey did it.
No, he was the absolute best. Again, check out the archives on the DRF YouTube channel. Let's take a look at the Timeform US pace projector for the Harvey Pack. Again, 6 go if this is on turf. We're not expecting a lot of speed. Dancing Buck should be fresh. We haven't seen this horse since November. He is quick. Our Shot is versatile, and that gives him a bit of an advantage over the horse that on the tote will be his main competition, Big Invasion, who sort of adopted a one-run closing style this year.
Yeah, we'll see. Big Invasion doesn't have to be that far away if the pace is slow, but he's not going to be as forward as the 2 and the 5. It doesn't seem anyway. I did think it was interesting that there's not a lot of pace in this race, and I do think that could be an advantage for a horse like Dancing Buck, even with the layoff to contend with. He's very versatile, but he's got speed if they want to use it. Our Shot has got to be right up close in here, Dan, but he does not need the lead to be effective.
The number 1 is Mr. who was claimed for $80,000 2 starts back at Ellis Park. He really didn't have a fair chance in the Troy. Maybe he was in too tough that day, but that course was so boggy and soft that you could understand if this horse just didn't like it at all.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's one way to look at it. You could certainly give him a pass for that one. First off the claim in a really tough race over a course with a lot of giving it. He didn't run that day. He's got a triple-digit buyer sprinting on grass from earlier this year down at the fairgrounds. I guess if you can show up and find a race like that second off the claim, Dan, he can win here.
Dancing Buck won the Grade 3 Belmont Turf Sprint 2 starts back at the Belmont at the Big A meeting. Yielding ground didn't bother him at all. He just jumped right up to the front, soon cleared to set an uncontested pace, and he was never threatened. His final start of the year, he had a tough outside post. They tried to hustle him out there to get to the lead. He faced a lot of pressure, and he tired. The long layoff is a little bit of a concern, but that pace projector may allay some fears because he might get an easy setup.
That's kind of how I looked at him too. I mean, this is a long layoff. He's going to have to be ready to go right off the bench here. We'll see if that's the case. His most recent start, yeah, they tried to go with him in there. The horse that wound up winning, Nothing Better, was a little faster. He was also inside at a time on those Aqueduct turf courses where you wanted to be on the rail, and Dancing Buck could not clear to the rail. He got a little tired at the end there, but I didn't think that was a bad performance. His race 2 back obviously was really good, right on the lead. He ran well twice up here last year, and he didn't have the lead in either of those races. I don't know, Dan, if he's ready off the layoff, I think he makes a ton of sense in this race.
I'm rooting for the 3, Thin White Duke, who's owned in partnership by the former publisher of Daily Racing Form, Steve Christ. And Steve and Harvey were great friends, 2 legends of the New York media scene over the last 30, 40 years. Thin White Duke ran okay, I thought, in the Troy 2 starts back. He was at the back of the pack getting those clods of sod just kicked in his face. He got to the outside. He was able to get up for 3rd. He's a very honest horse. Last time out, again, he needs a setup. He didn't exactly get it. The problem is, I'm not sure he's the best closer in this race with Big Invasion in it. I think he will make a late run. I think he can make his presence felt. I need more than 5 to 1.
We'll see. I mean, I agree with you. Maybe the good Big Invasion is a better kicker than Thin White Duke is, but Thin White Duke is supposed to be a much better price in this race. I agree with your take on his last 2 starts, Dan. No real setup last time. He actually ran really well to just miss 3rd in there. He was making up ground to the end. He ran really well 2 starts back trying to gain ground. He's 0 for 7 this year. He has shown up in every single one of those races. He's run well. Things have not really gone his way yet. maybe they'll go his way on Saturday. This horse is a contender in this race.
No, he's a hard-hitting racehorse to be sure. Big Invasion, the number 4, was brilliant last year. He won, 6 races in a row, including 2 at Saratoga, including the graded quick call. I don't think he's as disappointing as some may say this year. I know when you're 6 for 9 in 2022 and you're only 1 for 4 in 2023, people are going to poo-poo it. But I think there were some circumstances. I think his Silks Run, his first start at Gulfstream, was just fine. He didn't have a trip at Churchill Downs 3 starts back. He ran fine, although he was far, far back in the Jaipur. And what chance did you really have last time out at Royal Ascot against just top international competition?
I mean, those are all valid ways to look at this horse. I kind of am willing to, maybe poo-poo him a little bit there, just because as much as he kept winning last year, I kept betting against him. I never really thought he was that good. I was obviously wrong about him, and he is a really good horse. He had an impossible trip at Churchill Downs back on Derby weekend. You throw that one out. He ran fine in the Jaipur. I think that one is the one that suggests that he can still run. The problem that I have with him is, first of all, sending him over to Ascot, I'm not sure that was necessarily a great idea. He was awful in that race. He got a good trip. He was right there. He was terrible in there. And I get that maybe it was a really good field. The horse that won the race was, I don't know, 1,000,000 to 1. Listen, we'll see if this horse can come back and just run one of his good races. I guess if he does, he wins here. I'll be betting against him again as the favorite.
Our Shot is the number 5. He's a very consistent, relatively lightly raced horse going out for John Terranova. His tactical speed, as we saw on the pace projector, could give him an edge over the morning line favorite. Let's watch his last race. High-level allowance, course and distance at Saratoga on July the 26th. As you see, he got right up close to the leader, and Our Shot does like to fight. It looks like he's going to be swamped from all sides, and somehow, some way, he wins this thing.
Really like this performance from him. He's dead game in here. Now, he is, going to fend off Arrest Me Red at the end of this race, Dan. Arrest Me Red. He's a quality horse for sure. He's a graded stakes quality turf sprinter. He also never wins. So that was one thing that I worried about a little bit with this horse. But overall, more than anything else, I just don't know that I would take 2 to 1 on him in this, but let's just put it that way. I think he's a really nice horse. I think he can win here. I like all of his turf sprints, and he should get the right trip in this race. I don't know if I would want to bet him at 2 to 1.
He beat 2 minor next out winners from that last race. I think he does still have a little bit more upside than some of the others. The 6 is Chess Master coming into this race off the claim from Jorge Abreu. Successful performance last time out for 32 over course and trip on August the 2nd. He worked out a pretty good trip in here after breaking from the inside. Really not a straw in his path once he gets out, and he's game to get up. Now it's a step up in class.
Yeah, they're going to step him back up for this. He got a great trip in this race, and he gets the job done as the favorite. Nothing wrong with this performance, Dan. It's not a particularly fast race. However, it's just a real question of whether he'll ever be able to get back to the form that he once possessed. I mean, this horse was a quality turf sprinter not that long ago. We'll see if Jorge Abreu can get him back to one of those races off the claim.
A 15-time winner, multiple stakes winner down at Tampa Bay Downs, has some fast figures in the past. I really respect this barn. Maybe he can wake Chessmaster up just a little bit. The rest of the field entered main track only. We want this race to stay on the turf. So let's take a look at our top selections for the Harvey Pack Stakes. Mike, I'm with you against Big Invasion in here. I'm going to try to beat him with the 3 and the 5. I think Our Shot has the good trip coming from him on the outside, prompting your pick, Dancing Buck. I think Thin White Duke's going to fire here. I hope I get something like 7 to 1. I want to use both in multis.
I'm with you on that. The first thing I decided to do in this race was to bet against the favorite, Big Invasion. Won't be surprised when he wins, but I'll try to take him down in here. And I was torn between Dancing Buck and Thin White Duke. I wound up going with Dancing Buck. I think there's a real chance he makes the lead here, Dan. I think if he makes the lead, it can be tough.
2, 4, 3, 5. Mike looking for the speed of the 2, Dancing Buck, who's fresh. Our Shot for me, 5, 3, 4, 2. I'm also using the 3, Thin White Duke. It's the Harvey Pack, race number 8 at the Spa on Saturday. Good luck.